Hey, welcome back. Another day, another vlog. Last day, got to pack me bags, done me washing. That's all done and dusted. It's time to get ready to go home. It's a big break too. It's haven't seen the family in 5 weeks. Super excited to catch up with little Jackster, my little buddy Bentley. I haven't seen for even longer. It's been like 7, 8 weeks. My chocky lab. So pumped about that. So, and my lovely wife, of course. Can't wait to see all the family. Yeah, it's been a long bit of a journey, this one, with the ups and downs. So, first trip back to Queensland after we've been in Perth for 7, 8 years, I think, 7 years or something. So it's a bit of a change. That's all changed. I'm home for a little bit. We've got to sell our old house. And we're still looking to try and buy one, so we're going to try and do that as well at the same time. And then I've got the Barra Classic coming up in April, so super exciting. Lots of stuff happening, I guess. Get the new car too, so another heaps happening. I've got to go and do my license. I've got regos. I've got heaps to do. It's going to be crazy time. So hopefully it shouldn't affect the daily show too much. The another day, another vlog. But I'll keep you informed. If I get a little bit stuck, I may have to sort of put something off here and there, depending how we go. There's a fair bit on the plate at the moment, and as we all know, family comes first. Sometimes it's good, and so I do appreciate you guys supporting me when I do have to have those couple of days off when I need to here and there. So it is handy. But yeah, again, get to go and get the new car. I haven't had a car for 5 years, so I'm super excited about having my own wheels. The V10 Touareg Volkswagen diesel. Very excited. It's a pretty rare engine, and it's been looked after by a previous owner really well. So super excited about that. Just being able, so I don't have to worry about stealing the car off the wife, and I can just shoot out and go and do a photography shoot, and I'll get all that stuff done, and I can just drive to the airport when I've got to fly back to work and just leave it at the car parks of the airport. So that's going to be really good. So super excited. I think it's just having that freedom again. So it was fine when I was on the push bike, but there's only so far you can ride on a BMX in a day. 200-300 k's is a little bit too much. So it'll be good if I can get a car. With the car now, I can just go on a bit of a venture and go touring and go find stuff, get up in the middle of the night and just go, and I don't have to worry about if something goes wrong, not being a car at home. So then that's always the worst fear as a parent. I'm sure you guys, if you are parents, having, if something goes wrong, if you're not there, you want at least there to be a car so you can get to the hospital or something like that with a kid. So that's what's in the back of my head every time I go out. So I don't have to worry about that anymore. So that's going to be good. I'll be rested a little bit more easier while I'm out shooting, not worrying and stressing. So cool. And so yeah, heaps happening. Editing wise, I got a bit done last night before I went to bed. Got day 2 done and dusted. That'll be up Friday. So get ready for day 2 of the trip down south. That's ready to go. I've just got to upload that and do the thumbnail, which is I've already done the thumbnail. Sorry. So everything's ready to go. Just got to upload it. That'll be a premiere on Friday night. I'll have that ready for you. I've started doing the photos and pretty much got a lot of the photos done for day 3 as well. I'm starting to get a bit of a roll on, which is good. Getting back into that editing mode I sort of had a bit of a break there with family stuff. So I'd sort of switched off a bit. I'd sort of good being back working my routine again, and it's let me get back into my other job, my editing job. And this channel, and getting back into that routine and getting sorted. So it's been good. I had a productive after work session yesterday, so that was pretty cool. Even managed to get a little bit of sleep in, so that's even handier. Other than that, wasn't a real lot around. Obviously, Monday, Sunday in the States, there's not a real lot tech-wise. There was a couple of leaks yesterday about OnePlus. We know OnePlus from the phones, the Nord, the 9 coming up on the 23rd of March. They've got a big release. So we talked I think last week about the new 9 series phones, the 9, the Pro and stuff, and the quality AAA Snapdragons, all that sort of stuff in there. And excuse me, turn that down a bit. And yeah, look, they've also dropped out a little teaser on Twitter. If you are a follower of OnePlus, they've got watches coming as well. So this is a company that started up and sort of, I guess, not really Kickstarter, but sort of come out of nowhere. And the guy that founded it has actually left to go and do more startup companies. He's actually walked away from it, but the company's growing. It's super popular. They've sort of got that funky new sort of age sort of style to them, and they've done really well with their phones. Super high end stuff at a lower budget price. So I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing pretty well. And now they're getting into the wearables. They're bringing out their first watch on the 23rd. You can easily see by the teasers it's a watch. It's got a band in there with the holes. It's got the round shape. Yeah, it's pretty. It'd be some sort of funkiness if it isn't. But yeah, definitely get ready for the 23rd of March. I'll give you more on that. We'll get the final rundown prices and everything of those 9 series ones, and also we'll be able to see about this new watch that they're talking about. So yeah, look, OnePlus, it's a growing company. They're doing good things. If you're an Android user, definitely a company I would go and suss out, because the phone and the tech they have in their phones is really flash, and they've got some stuff there to equal your Samsung and your Huawei's and all that. It's definitely worth an option and one to look at and save a bit of coin and still get the same sort of quality. So go check it out. Now, the other one I want to talk about is V-dubs. You know, I'm a big fan of electric cars, electric scooters, electric bikes, all that. And I'm a big proponent of it. Being a diesel mechanic, it's sort of put myself out of a job, but I think it's the way of the future. It's the only way to protect all these beautiful things I'm taking photos of. Unfortunately, it's never going to last if we just keep trashing the joint like we currently do. So electric cars and renewable energy, I think, my personal opinion, I think it's the way forward. There's no need to destroy planets to get epoxy fossil fuels out. I mean, there's nothing I love more than the sound of a Ferrari engine or a Formula One, the old V10s, that beautiful sound, or a V12 Lamborghini going down the road. Yeah, it sounds amazing, and I understand that completely. I've had a love affair with cars since I was a teenager as well, so I understand that. But I also understand that, it's a car. I can't afford a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. That's a top 1% of the people on the planet that can afford that sort of stuff anyway. So to the people that probably enjoy it more, we can't afford it, so it doesn't matter. So realistically, we need something that's going to work for us, either a work ute or stuff like that. We talked about the Alpha last week. Well, VW was the biggest car company in the world. Dieselgate sort of smashed them around the chops and give them a bit of a touch-up. Tesla's now number 1, but VW would be firmly ranked number 2, or maybe 3 actually, behind Toyota. I think Tesla knocked Toyota off. Toyota was just in front of VW because of Dieselgate. They sort of lost their number 1 place. But VW, they've got a new ID4 coming out. It's an electric car. You can order it. The first edition has already sold out in Europe, so you can't get on that one. But they're saying this ID4, it's pretty much going to be the one for the masses. So it's not a fancy, it's no super fast car, it's not a ute, it's not a Rivian, it's basically like a epoxy Toyota Corolla, or it's your standard car that everyone's going to buy, that everyone's going to be able to afford to get into. That's what they're sort of looking at. They think this is the one that's going to be the one that sells big. I think they're probably accurate in that regards. It's nothing. It's more about, it's all function. It's a little bit of class to it, but nothing major. It's just got that VW touch to it, that quality that you do get from VW. And I think that's realistically all you get. You can't expect too much from it. But look, it looks nice. It's going to be a good car. VW make great cars. That's why they're as big as they are. I've got the Tiggan. Now, this ID4, speaking of the Tiggan, very similar sizes. So I think the ID4 will be a little bit bigger than what the current Tiggan is. But the space inside, they're saying interior space being electric is actually bigger than a Touareg. So I've just bought a Touareg, the older model, but if that sort of gives you a good sort of a size comparison, you'll see the photo on the thumbnail, and if you go for a bit of a Google search and check it out, it's definitely coming out. It's in 3 markets. It's in Europe, China, and the US. I'm assuming it's going to come to Australia as well. It's been made in right-hand drive, so this is definitely something that I think we will be seeing soon in Australia, along with the Hyundai's, Ioniq 5s, and all those other cars, all the other electric cars that are coming. They are coming, and they're going to have to get cheaper. And this one actually does drop down in price, even though it's still XE. So be aware of that. Now, it's got 3 powertrain options, all-wheel drive. There's the Pure, the Pro, and the First Edition. Now, the First Edition and the Pro are basically similar. The First Edition's just got a couple of little, basically like tuning or software tweaks in them to make it a little bit faster, but nothing really much different. The base model, the Pure, is 125 kilowatt, and it'll give you 347 kilometers of range, which is okay. Power-wise, doesn't really matter as much. Electric, they're going to do the job. Again, this is not a sports car. This is a go-to-work car, come home, park it, charge it sort of a car. Take your kids to the shops, to sport, all that sort of stuff. It by no way means an elite Tesla high-speed beast. But look, 347 Ks, that's probably not too far. As I think I said on yesterday with the Alpha and that, anything around the 400K mark is probably normal for a fuel tank in a city operation anyway. So like 340 is probably a little bit low, but that is the base model. So you pay for what you get, I guess, that lower battery quality, lower battery output, so you're only going to get a smaller range. But if you're only doing little bits and bobs, 347 Ks is probably not too bad for you. The Pro model goes up to 150 kilowatt. It's got a bigger battery pack, and that'll do 500 Ks. So that's well and truly probably the best option. It might be the option that comes to Australia because of that range of 500 Ks. That's going to easily give people a week's worth of travelling without really having to charge. It does take a while to charge. It's about 11 hours at home on charge. And then the fast charge is, I think it's about 38 minutes with a 125 kilowatt charger, depending on charging stations, which again is the big missing link in the chain in Australia. Not enough charging stations. You think a lot of these service stations would actually start putting charging stations into their service stations and have a separate bay. They have one for diesel. Maybe it's time to get rid of they could do the same sort of thing, get a special one near the tyre and air or water areas and put fast chargers there, make some extra money, get ready to do the changeover when it all ends up being all electric. They can just sort of get rid of it and just leave the service station as it is and maybe put a better coffee shop and a lounge in or something like that. So who knows? The First Edition has said it's a little bit different. It just got some higher specs, 8.5 seconds to 100 Ks an hour. So I said, not a super car. Definitely look. They're saying about £40,000, and that's for the First Edition. So that's the top of the wazzer. That's about 70,000 Australian. So that's not cheap. I looked at a new Navara last night. Top of the range STX for that is $70,000 as well. So it's not too bad, I guess. Cars are getting bloody expensive. $70,000 for a Navara. That's a lot of cash. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And we got a Tig and it was 45. I think it was about $5,000 off because it was going out. But like that's an R-line, top of the range, everything with everything on it. And that was only like basically 50 grand. Basically now the same car's like 65, 70. And we look, I don't know. The prices of cars are just ridiculous. They've gone up. Wages aren't going up. I don't know how they expect people to buy these cars, and especially these electrics. So they really need to work out how they're going to get that price down in Australia, because 70 grand. This is a Corolla level car. This is a Corolla you can still get for 30 grand, 35 grand. No one's going to pay $70,000 for the same thing as a Corolla. And that's where the electric car companies, and I think that's why it's going to be a while before they come to Australia. But unfortunately, the longer we take, the worse it's going to be for us. We're going to be so far behind. I don't know how the government's going to do it. It's a tricky question. It's probably the billion-dollar question is how do you make these cars feasible for a small population country like Australia? Only 25 million of us. So it's a tricky thing to do. So it'll be interesting to see. But look, 70 grand, it's no Tesla. Tesla's 150 grand. So definitely coming down. Still a bit to go before it's going to be able to be a feasible thing. Towing, it'll tow a ton. It's not really a tow car. It's a family car. 20-inch wheels, heated steering. It's got the onboard 11 kilowatt AC charger. As I said, it'll do 125 kilowatt DC charger to fast charge. LED auto dim headlights. Apple Android CarPlay. So it's got all the modern cons that you need. It's got a rear view camera and a sensor as well. So where your rear view mirror uses a camera out the back to get all that. So a little bit more, so plenty of safety features in there. 2-zone aircon. So yeah, look, top speed 100 miles an hour, 160 Ks. Plenty. You can only do 110 Ks. So it does heaps fast. You don't have to worry about speeds and stuff like that. And boot size is just going to be a little bit smaller than the Tiggan. So the Tiggan's not a huge boot. This thing's a little bit smaller than that. There's no front boot at the front where some of your electric cars have that extra space where there's no engine. Well, there's nothing there. So be aware of that. It does have an 8-year warranty, so that's pretty cool. And the only negative downside that the guy that was reviewing it was talking about was it's got drum brakes on the rear. It's 2021. How the hell has any car got drum brakes on it? Like, surely, like mountain bikes and push bikes have disc brakes. Drum brakes? Wow, that's pretty crazy. So I don't know what the go is there. I guess they're trying to trim costs wherever they can to get it down, but drum brakes are terrible. They shouldn't be on any sort of modern car. You talk about putting safety first, then brakes probably have to be at the top of the wazoo in most important things. So a little bit weird in that regards, but what do you do? They're trying to do what they can to get that price to get you the car to get out there. So I guess it's one of those compromises we have to make. And that's about it. I will see you. Well, I'll be flying home. I'll probably talk to you tomorrow. I should be able to get the show out to you tomorrow. I'm in Perth and I don't fly back till next morning. Thursday might be a bit tricky. So it's going to be a bit of a funny week, but you'll see me when you see me. I guess that's the best I can do. Friday night, I'll definitely have the premiere for the day 2 up for the South trip. Make sure you're around to watch that. If you haven't already subscribe, hook us up. Catch us on a podcast. If you're listening on a podcast, great to have you pop by. Anyway, I will see you all again tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by. We'll be going that way. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.